All right, so thank you for that wonderful introduction. And so I also want to kind of preface this by saying that this is kind of experience based, and I've been participating in different fellowships and different programs that build faculty, participation and also professional development. And from those programs, this is kind of what this paper or this presentation stems from. And so I kind of wanted to just kind of share what I learned in those programs and then how implement this in this particular, paper and presentation. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of give a brief introduction, give, some, provide some case studies and backgrounds. Also kind of give like, different programs that are kind of related to professional development for faculty members, especially in cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, and so on and so forth. And also, the main point of this is I wanted to propose a faculty network model so that not only HBCU or historically black institutions can use, but any institutions can use. Because right now we know that there's a vacancy for cybersecurity jobs, but one of the things that I'm seeing is no one is addressing who is training the trainer, who is training the instructors or the faculty members in order to uh, develop the workforce to fill those vacancies. Also, kind of have expected impacts, and then I'm going to end on some conclusions. All right, so just kind of give an overview. HBCUs, historical black colleges and universities. These are institutions to higher learning. And these were kind of established, before 1964. And at this time, there was, limiting factors where, there was a bunch of, segregation at the, United States of America. So there weren't a lot of educational opportunities as it is now. And so HBCUs, they provided, the opportunity to expand the reach to, education for people of color and people that were in underrepresented in the United States. But nowadays the problem is limited funding, resources, faculty capacity, um, and another thing too is that I didn't mention in the slides, but I mentioned in the paper. One of the challenges also is there's a big gap when it comes to endowment as well. And there's a huge gap, in terms of funding for HBCUs because of limited funding, and limited funding leads to not being able to have the research, resources for research, um, faculty, instructors and things of that nature. And so, but also, the main thing about this is how do we address the gaps with those job, vacancies for cybersecurity, where, HBCUs can also, you know, cast a wide net in terms of other, students that might not can don't can afford to go to a R1 school or a research two school. So, for example, like Tougaloo College, this it's a liberal arts institution. And so um, we are able to kind of, meet students where they are. And so I looked at the study and from 2023 to 2024, there were 457,433 job openings just for cybersecurity. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to figure out, okay, how do we bridge the gap between, how do we establish cybersecurity programs at a small liberal arts institutions like Tougaloo College that we can, help, fill that gap. And so what you kind of see on the map, these are the number of HBCUs in the southeastern region of the United States. And so as you kind of see, like, there are a number of, historical black colleges and universities that, can use something like this. Um, so here are some challenges for program development. Of course, we I mentioned limited funding. small endowments, the shortage of qualified faculty, and because a lot of these institutions they don't even have a enough faculty members to just sustain just a computer science department. So, for example, like I'm the only full-time computer science and faculty member here at Tougaloo College, but um, we have other half-time faculty and instructors. We also merged with the mathematics department, so we have it's a mathematics and computer science department because it's so small. And so another thing is outdated or inaccessible teaching lab resources. So when I arrived uh, about a year ago, one of the things that I had to kind of do is I had to kind of meet students where they are because they might not have the resources to have, have a functioning laptop just to, do intensive programming. But also I had to kind of um, work with what I had as an instructor because there weren't a lot of technology that I could kind of use. So I had to kind of make something with what I had. And then another thing was keeping up with industry certifications in tech and cybersecurity. One of the things that is a challenge with this in particular is certifications aren't cheap at all. But then also is, with cybersecurity, it's hard to sustain because you have to have the technology, you have to have the expertise, and there are a lot of institutions that cannot um, feasibly keep up with that because you have to pay. And unfortunately, you have to pay, to sustain a cybersecurity, program. And so I want to kind of talk about the representation for the national cybersecurity programs. So when I talk about the National Centers of Academic Excellence in Cybersecurity, these are designations for institutions that can prove that they have a substantial cybersecurity program. And some of that is related to research. They're doing, relative research. Um, they have a robust curriculum. And so it's kind of tough to get this designation. So there are only 13 HBCUs, so that's about, a little under 3% that are NCAE designated. And this is out of 475 institutions. So only 13 out of 475 institutions are HBCUs that have this designation. And only four. So also I want to kind of talk about another designation that you can kind of join. And so this is not necessarily maybe a certification. It's an organization that you can kind of join to build a cybersecurity clinic or a curriculum and have access to other people that are building their program. This is the consortium of cybersecurity clinics. So this doesn't only include just United States institutions. They also have cybersecurity clinics that are in other other countries as well. So only four HBCUs are in the consortium of cybersecurity clinics, and Tougaloo College is one of them. And the reason why we were able to be a part of this consortium is because we were awarded a grant from Google and the Tides Foundation to establish a cybersecurity clinic. So we were fortunate enough to receive that grant, and what comes with that is being having access to this consortium. And so that's four HBCUs out of 18 total active clinics in the consortium cybersecurity clinics. And so given this, I want to kind of propose a faculty network model. And again, because of the huge vacancy with cybersecurity, one of the things that I'm just seeing the lack of is how do you train a trainer? How do we address who is teaching the students so we can have, put them in the pipeline for the workforce? So this model, it provides resources to develop and support cybersecurity programs. This includes teaching resources, syllabi, labs, tools, peer mentorship, collaborations, certification and curriculum alignment, and then also access to low cost or even free tools. And this includes Packet Tracer And this is kind of related to like, network diagrams. I use this in my networking class so I can kind of give students a hands-on experience. And what's good about packet tracer is you can simulate constructing a network, turning on, turning off devices. You can also use this in order to use Ethernets to make sure that you're connecting the devices properly, and you're doing this in a simulated environment. It's almost like a flow chart, and so and it's free, and it's also low cost cloud platforms such as Hack the Box, where anyone can access that and they can simulate doing penetration testing, for example, or doing anything related to cybersecurity, whether that's being a security engineer or being someone that's analyzing a SIM tool or to analyze threats. So these are different things that I'm proposing in this model. So for this model, the first the initial assessment, it takes a look at the faculty program needs. So, do you need help with your, developing your course for cybersecurity? Where, what kind of tools and equipment do you have currently? And so this initial assessment would kind of look at, that faculty member, and, it's just been assessment, whether that's, doing a survey of a focus group, and the whole purpose of it is to meet them where they are. So then, this model can provide them the resources so they can become successful, or even start a cybersecurity course or a program. So the next phase is the objective setting. Establish learning outcomes. You know, if the faculty member is they need some more professional development, they can give them certification readiness, curriculum development, outreach. And so the whole purpose of this phase is to give the faculty member a plan of action. Content selection is the next phase, gathering open access resources. The next phase is implementation, provide peer-led workshops, resources tailored to specific courses, access to peer mentors. And then eventually there will be an evaluation. It may be a 1 year evaluation, to see where the faculty the fact that faculty memory is. Are they better than what they were when they first started? And so one of the things that I was thinking is we could use pre and post surveys to kind of keep track with the students as well. So as you're as you're developing this program, are you going to contribute to the workforce in terms of cybersecurity? So there are a lot of theoretical foundations that I use for this model. And so for the peer learning, Vygotsky's social constructivism, hybrid curriculum design, peer mentoring, and then these are just some small examples. And in the paper, there are more examples, but the CyberHawk's peer mentor program, and then the Center of Equitable AI and Machine Learning Systems. And this is at Morgan State University. And so a few of these are, from my experience, it has a good, framework for like professional development. So for example, the coding school, it prepares faculty members that are interested in teaching a intro to artificial intelligence, or intro to data science, or intro to machine learning course, and it provides them a hands-on professional development learning, so they can learn about machine learning, learn about deep learning, give them a model to you know uh, make a develop that course, for example. And it's a 2 week boot camp, and it gives them hands-on experience with using the data set, and then using unsupervised learning and supervised learning, for example. Another one is the Propel HBCU Faculty Fellows. This is a professional development organization where any faculty members that want to learn about cybersecurity or even eventually teach a cybersecurity course, they can participate in this program. And it consists of what is called cyber chats. And so they learn different about different aspects of cybersecurity. And it's like it's bi-monthly as well. Another organization is the Mississippi Artificial Intelligence Network. This is the first nationwide AI initiative, but they also provide free courses that anyone can take. It could be K through 12. It could be someone that's just trying to learn about artificial intelligence. They provide free self-paced courses that they can learn about machine learning and AI. And the last being the Mississippi Cyber Initiative. This is the organization that partners with Maine or the Mississippi Artificial Intelligence Network. And it's just an ecosystem to, you know, building for cybersecurity. They don't necessarily provide courses, but what they can do is they provide different quarterly meetings where people can interact with industry partners that they have. So expect the outcomes, increase, the faculty, um, have the faculty being better prepared, have them less isolated. So having access to other faculty members that might be at other institutions that are experienced with curriculum development, for example. On the student side, having them industry ready, giving them, the opportunities to learn about the certifications uh, that are out there for cybersecurity. In terms of institutions, as they're developing their curriculum and also developing the program, this makes them more competitive and also more grant ready so they can have that funding to sustain the program. And then for the broader use, the model can scale to institution higher learning, 2-year colleges, nonprofits. Um, in this particular program, we focused on HBCUs, but this framework can be used for any institution of higher learning. And so, in conclusion, HBCUs face gaps in cybersecurity education. And so this proposed faculty network leads to scalable, sustainable solutions. So the needs for the future includes researchers, educators, and then also sponsors to support and collaborate, especially for a program like this where it's really intensive, where there's a lot of funds that are needed. There are a lot of research that needs to be conducted to apply for grants, educators to teach the students, and then sponsors to make sure it's sustainable. And so here are some of my references that I use for the paper and then also this presentation. And I want to just thank everyone for this time, for listening in for this presentation. Thank you for the opportunity to be a part of this online presentation, and thank you for the conference as well. And thank you for the Future Education 15th Edition International Conference. Thank you all for your attention. Questions are welcome.